All right, class. So, good day. Welcome to our first discussion for the Sosci1s Understanding Culture, Society, and Politics. So, I will share the screen to you my PowerPoint presentation about the Sosci1s. No, the PowerPoint presentation made by your first Sosci1s teacher, Ma'am Wilda Alcordo. So this topics comes from the module. It was made by the Creeper. So I uploaded it in your Facebook group page. So I hope you read it. So for the introduction of the understanding of culture, society, and politics, lesson 1 talks about the cultural variation. So the variety of different cultures and the social differences in gender. So together we can do it. So as you can see here on this picture, so it is a woman who has this strength, right? So what we call this, there's a certain group of people, what we call as the feminist, who argues about their rights as women. Since on the history, women are just at home, staying at home, right? They are the one who serves or responsible for guiding her family. They are not the one who would go in public places or do study in college. Uh, they don't have right to vote. But on this modern type, so women are now engaging or what we call they could have different path. They could be staying at home or on their family. So sila lang yung naglalaba, nagluluto, or ang ligi ng tahanan. Or they could be some professionals or their career that they want. So probably they could be an accountant, a president of the Philippines, an attorney or doctor. So any job or profession they would want to pursue. Or they could be a good individual in the society or in the community. So also we have here another pictures of different person or different individuality or race, right? So it could be an American, Europe, Asian, African. So any race or um, individualities, differences or uniqueness that each have. So society may be defined as a collection of people in a specific territory who share the same norms, values, and culture. So again, when we say society, it talks about uh, all the people living in a same location or territory or place that has the same norms, values, and its culture. So these people work together with guidance of its social norms to maintain and sustain for harmony in the society. So as we all know, family is the basic um, form of society. So within that society or that home. So there is a mother and father and their children, son and daughter, that would help to have a better society. Or any other example, this school. So this online blended or this online or virtual class. So University of Mindanao are working together with my team, the administration, the top management, my co-teachers, the faculty and staff to be an effective online mode of delivery or this online or virtual classes. So people from the same society are usually distinguished by the outsiders into one single category. So Filipinos are happy and hospitable. So as we all know, di ba? Many other nations or another race would love to see or to encounter Filipinos because of our hospitality, and we are always keep smiling and approachable to any other race. So let's talk about sex and gender. So many people use the terms sex and gender interchangeably because of perception that these two only refer to the same context. So sex and gender, in fact, are different concepts. In order to understand this gender, we must first distinguish the differences between these two terms. So when we say sex, it refers to the biological differences and distinguishes humans and other animals into two main categories, so the male and female. Biological differences between the males and females include the variation first. So in our chromosomal structures, and we say female, it is XX, or in the male is XY. So the mother's chromosome or its gene has its X. So it depends how does this sperm cell from the father would cross inside the egg cell of the mother. So it has the X. So it depends if ano yung DNA or gene na papasok sa egg cell ng mother, then sperm cell sa father. So if XS, so mabibigay niya na offspring or anak is babae, and then if XY, so magiging lalaki yung anak niya. The second one is the hormone production. It generally more testosterone production for males and more estrogen production in females, which facilitate development of the secondary characteristics. So we, each of us has different hormonal production in male and female. So the male responsible is the testosterone. So that is for the production of the mustache or the beard, yung bigote sa mga lalaki, and then their armpits, hair, and then their voice, their Adam's apple, diba? So yan siya. Unlike for the female, the progesterone and the estrogen is the hormone that would responsible for their female production. So that is why there is no other female na may tutubas kanilang bigote or slow lang yung growth sa kanilang armpit, and also sa ilang menstrual cycle, di ba? So pagkakaroon ng dysmenorrhea is very common in female. The last one is the internal and the external reproductive organs. So penis and testes for the males, and then the vagina and the ovaries for the female. So sex in summary is inborn and is purely biological in nature. So there's only two sex, one for female and then one for male. Well, the gender, it encompasses all the social, cultural, psychological characteristics that a culture assigns to males and females. It categorizes whether which behaviors and traits are appropriate for men and for women. There are two main types of gender, the masculine and the feminine. So those are the two genders. So each gender has its own gender role, which is defined as culturally assigned tasks and activities to sexes. So, for example, in many societies, one gender roles of males is to handle physically demanding activities such as the construction work, while the females are tasked to handle domestic activities like taking care of the child or the child rearing and the common household. So those are some of the gender roles. But on these past days, and the current situation or this day, di ba, may iba naman na it depends sa family. So so may kakilala ako na one of my classmates her mother is a nurse while his father is a tawag ito, house husband or houseman, like that. So yung papa niya is nasa bahay lang. Minsan is gumagawa ng mga cake. So nagkaka-order din nagka-order din kami sa kanila ng mga puto or leche flan, so like that. So it depends on the gender roles of every families or every society. So yun siya, di ba? So many people are usually confused about the differences between their sex and gender because in many societies, gender and gender roles are highly attached to one's sex. So yun siya, di ba? If you're a female, so dapat nasa bahay ka lang. So di ka pwedeng magtatrabaho na magbigat or yung panglalaki na trabaho or profession, which is not good, di ba? May iba nga na dyan nga babae siya pero naging engineer siya. So, marunong siya mag ng mga semento or sa mga building like that, or may male nga na mga designer or teachers. So it depends, 'di ba, of our own preferences. So this manifests what social scientists refer to as the sex gender group system, which tells us how gender and gender roles are a product of one's biological sex. So in this society, with this system, it is normal and expected for males to be masculine and then females to be feminine, which is not common because there are some females, di ba, na very strong. So may police woman na masculine yung aura niya, pero uh, he is a purely female kasi may anak man siya, may inalagaan siyang mga anak sa bahay nila, pero yung profession niya is uh, police woman. However, this is always not the case, especially in the contemporary and modern society. So yun siya yung sabi ko, di ba? It depends of on how we really, what do you call this one, the type of profession or job that we want. Ano yung path or journey na tatahakin natin. Next is culture that is largely involved in the defining gender in these societies. So the concept of gender as a cultural construction tells us that gender is a product of how societies and their culture adapted to the conditions of their natural and social environment. So let us consider a hunting and the gathering society as an example. Diba? So in such societies, gender differentiation is evident in their division of labor as gender roles are determined through their sex differences. So since male members are physically stronger than female, so they are largely in charge for hunting of the wild animals for food, diba? Because yun siya, very strong ang pinapakita ng mga lalaki. So, hindi sila natatakot sa mga wild animals if kakagatin sila. Like for females, may iba na natatakot sila, baka gatin sila or they're not that strong enough. Pero may iba naman na babae na very brave na di sila natatakot sa mga exotic or wild animals. But females, on the other hand, due to their natural ability to nurture their children through the breastfeeding, they are asked to manage it at home. So yun siya. Means mostly sa mga nalalaman natin is yung girls is not, yung mga babae is nasa bahay lang sila. Sila lang yung nag-aalaga sa kanilang mga anak. Minsan sila din yung gumagawa sa kanilang household chores. So they are also tasked to gather plant resources to serve the different functions. For example, the food, their shelter for their survival of their family and tribe. So yung mga trabaho lang na medyo hindi siya delikado, 'di ba, na nasa bahay lang. Unlike yung paghahunt or nagagather ng mga wild animals, yung mga umaakyat sa mga bundok. So minsan is mga lalaki lang ang gumagawa or mga naghahakot ng mga kahoy para sa kanilang pagluluto. Another example could be these agricultural societies in the Cordillera. The Ifugao communities living in Banawi rice terraces still attribute the planting activities to their female members due to the belief that women's touch are nurturing. So the women's touch are very nurturing. So minsan is pwede sila tumulong sa pagtatanim ng mga halaman doon sa Cordillera. Because di ba very soft ang kamay ng mga babae. That is why minsan yung mga lalaki is hinahanap nila yung massage therapy sa pagod na naranasan ng mga guys if they are working so at home. So they really need to look for that warmth sa kanilang magiging asawa. So the male Ifugao members are mainly associated with the rituals that deal with slaughtering animals such as the pigs and chickens. So sila lang yung ginaihaw nila tong baboy or ang manok because dili mo sila mahadlok, di ba? Because kusgan man sila. While in these examples, it can be seen how a group's adaptive strategy shapes the gender roles in the society. Besides the adaptive strategy in the environment, other researchers also suggest that factors such as the economy. So males are expected to act manly and females are womanly. However, these concepts on the gender are constantly being challenged. So on the current nowadays on this 21st century world or this modern world, as the LGBT and the feminist movement struggle to normalize the gender equality, not only for men and women, but also for other third sex, the lesbians, gays, bisexuals, transgender, and other categories. So in this modern century, this 21st century, so we have this gender equality, but on the past, tinatakal nila itong gender equality, pero hindi talaga siya strongly na pinapasa. Unlike ngayon, na there is certain group of people who leads to a certain community or what you call this one, location or country. That is why mas kusog na siya karon ang kuan sa gender equality. So that's a wrap for our first lesson. So I hope you learned something about our first discussion. And then, for more information, you may also read some of my uh, yung attached na soft copy or PDF sa group chat niyo. So that's all. Bye-bye. See you next meeting. Bye, guys.